last Wednesday with the teams. We started with the definition, and we said that any discussion, any instruction, any kind of talk that relates with sharing how human beings experience their sexual life or how they express their sexual behavior is known as sex education. So, directly or indirectly, we will be educating people sexually without knowing. Most of us, the males, we gather together, we begin to narrate how our friend behaved, our female friends behave sexually, and other males will be listening to us. Now, so those discussions is taking, some people are taking note of it, and sometimes they would like to go and act on it. Consciously or unconsciously, you are discussing and teaching somebody. That is why there is no school for sex education. Still, people perform sexually and they do all sorts of things. Then some other avenues that we also pass across sexual education or sexuality education is in the area of video. We are coming to that. But I just want to give us a brief that any discussion, whether you say today we are going to discuss sex education or not, as far as this discussion is centered on how to express yourself, or someone should express himself or herself sexually, or you are sharing experiences that borders on sex, automatically you are discussing sex education. That is why sometimes they say you should mind the type of video that you watch with your children. That's why some videos they will write a thing like this, they put plus. What they're telling you is that that video has been censored by NBC, that it shouldn't be viewed where children that are less than 18 years are. But parents do that, we don't care. And some children will be there watching things that they are not matured enough to watch. And later when you leave the house, they will go to do those things they're watching the video. Now, there are areas we need to cover in sex education, such as human sexual anatomy. In the human sexual anatomy, we talked about the private parts of human being and the public parts. And in that class, I mentioned about 5 parts to the teenagers who were with me, and I also told them to mention the public parts, which they recorded. We, the parents, I'm not here to be mentioning public and private parts for us because we've known it. We need to know them and we need to differentiate it for our children. We shouldn't be doing these things the way we've been doing things, and the things are going the way it is going in the church, where we say we are to wait for the children to grow up before we now begin to talk to them about sex. While the Bible says that we should train the child, not the adult. We should train the child, not the adult, the way that child should grow, so that when that child grows up, he or she will not depart from it. But wait, when they now grow up, we now begin to tell them this is your private part and this is your, why they have reached this age where they are already experiencing it. In fact, they have had a lot of sexual education from different persons, from peer pressures, from groups, from leave them. So these are the things that we need to change. We should change these things from now. We shouldn't be saying that when the child grows up before I now talk to him or her about sex. We should begin to talk to them as soon as. In fact, somebody asked me, when is it the time that one should supposed to be teaching children sex education? As soon as the child is 1 year, 6 months. It is expected that at the age of 1 year, 6 months, the child has started talking. So the moment the child begins to talk, to make sense, begin to talk to the child. As at that time, begin to sing song that the child will consciously or unconsciously begin to understand. There are songs that we will also learn in the teens class on Wednesday for those who are 18, and after the age of 18 months, which is from that 18 months to 3 years, there they are to be singing. Then from that age to from 5 years to 8 years, that time you will begin to discuss with them, because habits, according to psychologists, begin to form at the age of 7. Any habit that you did not correct or make the child to form before he reach this age, it become ingrained in the body or the brain of that child. So for you to change it, it won't be easy. It's like this. If you want your child to begin to make use of left hand side, I'm just using that as an example. So you begin to pattern him or her before he reaches this age, so that by the time he or she reaches this age, he is now expert in that left, either to use it and write, or to use it and do anything, or even to use it and mold back. But the time you allow the child to pass this age, you now begin to force him or her to do things, definitely the child will find it difficult, and he may end up hating you because he's looking at it as a punishment. All right? But when the child is at this 1 year, 6 months, where he's not really knowing much, you just begin to sing songs. From that song, you begin to discuss things. These are the time those children will begin to ask you questions that will be like, who told you this? There are questions they will ask that will show you that they have been seeing certain things in this house, and it's like you are not telling us the truth. So when such questions begin to come, begin to advance your teaching to add other areas. So I told them about the human sexual anatomy, which I told you we have the private and the public parts. I told them in that class that on no account should you allow anybody to touch your breast, for those who are female. And on no account should you allow anybody to kiss your mouth, because it's part of your private part. So we don't even need to talk about anybody touching anybody's vagina or penis, because it's your private part and it should be kept private. All right? And I told them, anybody that makes mistake and touch your private parts, you should tell your parents. First of all, tell the person that if you touch my private parts again, I will tell my mother. And with that, if the person has reason, if the person has sense, you should just leave him or her alone. Now, another thing that we're supposed to cover in the area of sex education is the topic of abstinence. How can these children abstain from sex before marriage? The society that we live today doesn't really talk about abstinence. Even if they want to talk about it, they will talk it in a different way. They'll be talking about being a virgin. Maybe if you're a virgin, you should reserve it for your husband as a gift. And some will be like, the person that I'm reserving this, they don't even tell the male that's supposed to be my husband to also reserve his own virginity for me as a gift. So it's the girl that is to preserve her virginity for her male counterpart, who is going around disvirgining others. So the society doesn't really put this topic very well for them. So it makes the female that is only being taught about sex education to feel like, is it we alone that they're supposed to teach? While their male counterparts are busy trickling them by the side and telling them, don't mind what mommy is telling you, or don't mind what dad is telling you, or don't mind what that pastor is teaching you. After they are telling you these things in public, do you even know what they are doing in secret? So if you start as a parent to talk to your children on the area of abstinence, and you too, before you too supposed to be a shining example to your children. They shouldn't be seeing you leaving your wife, having other affairs, and you are the same person preaching abstinence. Then how will you work? Children learn from what they see their parents do. Yes. So we should be shining example before we point one finger like this at somebody. This very far now pointing back at me. All right. So these are the things we are to learn. Another thing we need to cover very well in the area of sex education is birth control. Majority of us doesn't know about our birth, that is what they call family planning, and we went into marriage. We did not even arrange our house. All of a sudden, child number 1 enter, child number 2 follow, 4th, the mama of the wife of your wife, which is called the grandmother, will be happy coming from Mogo, but you don't know what the pressure that the man or the woman is going through. So we need to take this area very seriously, because a lot of us have failed here, and before you know it, we give birth to children that we could not take care of. We could not complete their school fees, and they are driving the other person back. Or we are able to pay the school fees, but we are unable to renew our rents. Or okay, we are able to renew our rents and pay school fees, but we couldn't save money to build our own house, because we gave birth to too many children that are reducing our financial strength. This area, we need to get it right. We don't just come this world and be quoting the book of Genesis that the Bible says you should go to the world and multiply. Before you talk about going to the world and multiply, you're supposed also to check your pocket. You shouldn't just be multiplying, replenishing the earth, increasing. See how Nigeria is now. COVID-19 has come and affected a lot of businesses. And many people were turned to beggars overnight. But if to say you did this mwake gazo earlier, you find out that the economy will not affect you so much. You look at your pocket, because this is a place that you don't tell somebody how many children to give birth to, but me and you knows our pocket strength, and that will determine how we give birth. So in birth control, you learn family planning. There are different types of family planning. Some use pills, some do injection, some do the natural family planning, the one they call Billings method, where you check monthly occurrence, things that happens to the body of your wife. Then that will determine to know the one they call safe days, or the days that you and her shouldn't meet. Or if you are looking for a child, you now know this at the period both of you should meet. So it's here that we're supposed to learn. We shouldn't be saying that by teaching children birth control, automatically we're exposing them to immorality. It's a lie. Let them know it. It will help them. There are many of our children today who gave birth and they came back. That is, we sent them to go to school and they went and got pregnant and came back and become a liability to us. Had they been the